But for long the crew of great Numenorian ships came unarmed among the men of Middle-earth, and though they had axes and bows abroad for the felling of timber and the hunting for food upon wild shores owned by no man. Welcome to Tales of Arda, where we discuss and explore Middle-earth. Today's video is just about the geography of the island of Numenor. Let's get into it. The island of Numenor was raised from the sea at the beginning of the Second Age by the Valar as a gift to the men that fought against Morgoth in the First Age. Numenor was known by many names such as Elena, meaning Star Wards. In Quenya, this name refers to the shape of the island, which was shaped like a 5-point star. Each point had their distinctive features, and their names were Foresta, Andusta, Hianusta, Hiaorosta, and Orosta. Foresta was the northern land of Numenor, a land of rocks, cliffs, and high moors with woods of fir and larch. It stretched some 200 miles from its southern borders to its north cape. The great road from Ravenna to Andunia passed through its southern sections at a place that was known as Ondostor. The lands further north towards the cape became rockier and with more mountains. In the far north was the peak of Sorontil, where the landscape fell sheer into the sea, forming tremendous cliffs. Andusta was the western part of Numenor, separated from the south by the wide bay of Eldana. The Andusta was around 240 kilometers west to east and 160 kilometers north to south. To the east, it bordered with the Foresta and Minentalma regions, but in all other directions it was surrounded by the ocean. The Andusta was a generally fertile region, except along its northern coast, where the landscape became more rockier and with forests of fir. Its western shores were broken by 3 bays, with the northmost of these being the Bay of Andunia. On the high land around the bay, the Numenorians built their port and city of Andunia, which later would be the main city of the faithful Numenorians. Hianusta was the southwestern of the 5 regions of Numenor, known for its vineyards and farmlands. Although it became more rugged in the far south, Hianusta's long southern shores were composed of wide white beaches and shillings. Hiaorosta was the wide land that spread out to the south and the east of Numenor. Along its southern shores were wide beaches of white sands, and on its western borders, where near to the mouth of River Cirial, stood the town of Inindamos. The Hiaorosta was most famous for its trees that provided much wood for the shipbuilders of Numenor. Orostar was the eastern section of Numenor. The land was some 200 miles west to east and was surrounded by sea on all but its western borders. A range of hills ran along its northern coast which protected the region from cold northeast winds. Especially in its inland parts of Orostar held some of the most important farmlands of Numenor, where much grain was grown. The middle section of Numenor was called Minentalma. It was a region of grasslands. The borders of Minentalma formed a rough oval shape, 250 miles west to east and 170 north to south. Near its center was a single tall mountain, the mountain of Minentalma, the pillar of heaven. The 2 main rivers of Numenor had their springs in this region, the Nundania that flowed westwards and the Cirial that flowed south. The eastern part of the Minentalma was the most important region on the whole island. This was Arandor, the king's land, where the royal city of Armenelos stood, as well as the eastern port of Ravenna. A road ran between these two cities and carried on westwards across the Minotaur and into the western parts of the island. Another region was Nisimaldar, the land surrounding the haven of Eldalonde on Numenor's western coast. It was the only place in Numenor where malon trees grew, brought from Toleracea by the elves of that land. A region within Minotaur was Hierostoni, a place mostly for grazing sheep, and it was here, next to Emaria, the place where Tar and Kalime, the first queen of Numenor, was raised. The most important cities of Numenor were Armenelos, the seat of the king, Andunia, the port of the faithful, Nindamos, a large fishing town in the south, and Ravenna, a port on the east of the island. And so, here ends this video. If you think we missed something, please tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.